We're at Homestead-Miami Speedway for the setting of the field for today's Ford 200. And welcome to the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series qualifying for the Ford 200 on speed. A gorgeous day here in southern Florida. 80 degrees the temperature now, partly cloudy. Just a whisper of a breeze in the air, moving the flags ever so gently. Our points, we do have a champion that was determined a week ago. Ron Hornady over Matt Crafton. You see the highlighted names: Todd Bodine, Johnny Sauter, Brian Scott, and Colin Braun, all fighting for a position on the stage for the banquet at the end of the year. The top 5 make it onto the stage. Hello everyone, Rick Allen, Phil Parsons, Michael Waltrip, and brother Darrell Waltrip are joining us here for tonight's qualifying. Now we're going to set the field for this final race. We've got 38 trucks in the, or trying to make it into those 36 spots. What does it take to get around this track 2 laps as fast as possible?
I think these truck drivers, these racers tonight, have been sitting in their trucks watching on TV or even out looking at the track while the cup cars were just qualifying. It's chaos. You don't know where to go. You get to the end of the straightaway and you have a couple choices. You can go to the bottom and take the short way around, or you can go up high and ride the rim. Either one of them seemed to work. In cup qualifying, however, it looked like the high road was the right road. So I know these guys, Darrell, have taken a lot of mental notes prior to this session.
I sat there just like you said. I watched it on TV. I said, Mark Martin's a lot smarter than all these other guys. Man, he was right around the bottom. Jimmy Johnson goes out. He sets on the pole. He's right around the top. So I don't reckon there's any preferred place. It's what your truck will do.
Right.
If it's good on the bottom, run the bottom. If it's good on the top, then let her rip.
And oh, by the way, they're going to do that wide open in these trucks.
Oh, yeah.
The big cab, they're going to be able to run that thing wide open. We saw the cup cars out of the throttle a long time, but not these trucks.
Yeah, I think you'll see more trucks at the bottom, though, because they don't have as much power and they've got better handling. Sure. So they'll be able to ring around that bottom. It's the shortest distance. Maybe that'll be the key to setting on the pole here. Maybe if you didn't watch cup qualifying, you'd be better off.
I'd be better off. But one thing I noticed about listening to the trucks, when you hear the cup cars come down through, they're going, I mean, they're digging all the way down the straightaway. You hear a truck about halfway down the straightaway, it's like you let off the gas. They just die. That's why they can run them in the corners wide open the way they do.
A little less horsepower in the trucks, but we've got some big horsepower down on pit road. We'll start off with Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Rick. You know, not only do you have to decide what line you want to be on the racetrack, you have to decide if it's going to be 1 or 2 laps. Now, in our qualifying at this race a year ago, the top 4 qualifiers had their fastest lap on the first one. So you see a lot of guys are completely taped up all the way across the grill here today. Many of these guys are going to be going for 1 fast lap, and they'll be done. Adam?
Brian Scott loves the Homestead-Miami Speedway. 1 year ago, he made his debut at this racetrack, and it was very successful. He finished second in his first ever race here, but he's a little concerned about qualifying tonight. The reason is he will be the second truck on the track, the first one just rolling off. This track is going to change a lot over the next 60 to 90 minutes. An early draw could be a big disadvantage for driver 16, and as he prepares to go out, the green flag in the air for James Busher.
First truck on the racetrack, James Busher will be, well, I wouldn't say it's unlucky to be the first one out there because we just saw the Cup Series come off of the racetrack from their qualifying, but it is a different vehicle.
It is, and I don't think there's any disadvantage at all. It's only been just a few minutes since the cup cars got done, so the racetrack hasn't had time to sit in the sun and bake. So I think the racetrack probably, you know, as Adam said, I think as we go into the evening, late afternoon, I think the track will cool off certainly some. And we may see the speeds pick up towards the end, but a lot of the good trucks, the trucks we think that are going to be good, are going out early.
James Busher will set the pace, 33.190 on lap number 1.
It's about 0.13 of a second slower than James ran yesterday. He was 21st quickest combined in the practice sessions. And one thing we have to note, usually these guys want to get a good starting position because it's important to pick your pit.
Right.
But the pits were picked already last week at Phoenix by how the owner points were, so it really isn't going to have anything to do with that. But Kyle Busch changed an engine, so he will actually go, no matter where he qualifies, to the back of the pack.
That's bad news for Kyle Busch, but that's great news for us because that's going to be some fun to watch.
You know, Richie Waters said, well, you know, normally we have to come in the pits and raise the truck and stuff like that, so it's going to be no different than normal.
That's right. And here's something I can tell you. Talk about qualifying, going early, going late. If there's a difference between going in the daylight and going in the dark, I'll go in the dark.
Every time.
Yeah.
James Busher actually slowed down on lap number 2, 33.240. So his lap of record, 33.190 on his first lap. There you see Kyle Busch in his truck. getting ready to go out for his qualifying effort now on the racetrack. That's 16 of Brian Scott, and the big story at Express Motorsports, could it go to Kyle Busch? He's trying to build his own truck team. Brian Scott moving on to the Nationwide Series for Braun Racing next year.
I announced earlier today on NASCAR Live that Billy Ballou told me last night that in fact he was notified that Kyle is going to leave and start his own team. Wow.
That's what you get when you have to hold it wide open. He held it wide. He was committed, wide open, right on the floorboard, and that thing got away from him. Check it out. He's breathing very deep right now.
And he knows in his mind that it's probably not going to get better.
Look. He's trying it.
Yeah, trying to keep digging as he goes through 3 and 4. A little steam already coming out of the overflow on the right side.
Well, you would expect these trucks with a little less horsepower that the second lap would be better, right?
You would think so, but James Buescher did slow down about a half a tenth
and he's
on
still,
lap number 2, and he's still all over the racetrack.
He's still wandering around, but I don't, you know, we see Darrell all through practice, the tires fall off pretty quickly. So you might get all you can get on that first lap and be done with it.
And Ray reported that a lot of the drivers are going to put a lot more tape.
Oh, he's going to spin out.
Look at him slide through the turn. Is he going to be able to keep it off the wall? He will.
Wow.
Nice save.
I knew he wasn't going to spin out.
I knew he was.
What a great handle Brian Scott had on that race truck. Sideways through 3 and 4. Got it back, straightened out, stayed out of the wall.
It was that loose. Sorry, guys. I did everything I could, just would not hold.
No kidding, Brian.
Yeah.
We got your back on this one.
Yeah,
buddy.
that's right.
But you know what's crazy? The crew's going to say, well, it'd be good for the race then. If it's free right now, it's going to be real good tonight. He's like, I don't care about tonight.
Now, remember, that was the second one. Take a look at the first little bobble he had.
Just got a little bit free getting in the corner and then chased it, did a nice job of catching it. Then, again, we talked about the fact it probably wasn't going to get any better on lap number 2.
Look at that.
He just didn't give up. You know, he figured, well, I got to keep going. But you know what? It might be better in the race, but it's going to be a little more crowded out there in the race, too.
Yeah. He's not going to have quite as much room to chase that thing.
That's right.
And again, that was the first bobble. Here's the second. Look at how long he has to keep that off of the wall, how long he's sideways.
Yeah, he just did an excellent job. He did a perfect job, Phil. Any other correction? Look at him just holding on to it. He knows he's got to get it back to the left. He just drove that truck all the way through that slide.
Any less of racetrack and he would have run out of racetrack there.
And any less of a race car driver, he would have crashed into the wall.
That's a multi-whacks to save that one.
Look at how sideways he is right there.
Well, Tony Stewart told me when you see him doing that, they're chopping wood.
Fast lap right here, guys.
Eric Almirola now on the racetrack. 32.921 on his first lap, and decides that is enough. Let's go down to our series champion, who's standing by with Ray Dunlap.
Well, Ron Hornaday putting the ear molds in, getting ready to go. Ron, you were real loose in practice yesterday. How hard do you push it for qualifying?
I guess I'll find out coming for the green, but they changed everything on it. You know, Rick Wren, he looked at his notes, and I'm sure he's made this Longhorn Chevrolet pretty good. So I'll give it everything it's got.
All right, and guys, remember we talked about yesterday they had some starter problems. Put a new starter and new solenoid on this Longhorn Chevrolet.
I was talking to Rick Wren in the garage area this afternoon and asked him how his truck was, and he said, yeah, we really weren't very good. He said, we typically come here with one of the tightest trucks that we have body-wise, aero-wise, and we're always loose. So we thought we'd switch it around and bring one of the loosest trucks we had, and guess what? Still loose.
Can't change. Matt Crafton, how about consistency? In his 24 starts, 20 top 10 finishes. His average finish just under 7.
It's hard to believe he has not won a race. I mean, that truck has been bad fast on a number of occasions, just been able to close the deal.
Yeah, consistency a lot of times will win you a championship, but not here.
Talking about bad fast, Darrell.
Just jumped to the top right there with a pretty nice speed.
About a half a second faster than Eric Almirola, who was quick.
And we have not seen anyone pick up on their second lap. Matt Crafton could be the first.
That's about within 3/1000ths of a second of what Matt ran for his fastest practice time.
That might be all that truck's got then, huh, Phil?
It might be.
We'll find out as he comes out of turn 4 across the stripe. He slows down as well on lap number 2. So 32.420 is the mark everyone's shooting for.
But you know, you can make a pretty nice living finishing second every week. Or every year.
It's not bad.
Not bad. He's done it 4 times this year. It's 4 second-place finishes this year. Why is it so much easier to finish second than it is first?
Oh, there's somebody always stinks up the show. Somebody always have a faster truck or a faster car.
The distance
just never fails.
The distance between first and second is the furthest distance in the whole world.
It really
Any other
is.
positions don't really matter.
6th, 7th, nothing.
Well, it's the most aggravating distance.
I'm going to look that up, furthest, and make sure that's a word. I think it is. But let's find out if Brian Scott has caught his breath yet. Adam?
4th quick in yesterday's final practice. I think you wrecked, but you didn't hit the wall. How confident were you were going to be able to save that thing?
Well, I had both corners of the racetrack covered. On the first lap, I should have wrecked in 1 and 2, and then came around and just tried to come to the white and get all I could, and I made it through that corner, made it through 1 and 2 again. The second time through 3 and 4, I didn't make it. I was just about wrecked again. It's a shame. I thought we had a lot better truck than that. I guess the good news is our Albertsons Toyota just wouldn't turn yesterday, and now it's turning plenty good. So I hope it gets rubbered up. I hope it gets cooled down. I hope we tighten up. But it was exciting, just not very fast.
Fun to watch. Good luck.
Not for me.
Boys got high hopes.
What all did he just hope for?
Yeah. It said fun to watch. Brad said, not for me. Todd Bodine on the racetrack now. Todd won this race a year ago. For an amazing 2008 season where he started off the season winning at Daytona, then went to Talladega, was able to find victory lane there, and ended the season right here at Homestead with a win.
Just the way that truck looks coming down that straightaway makes me so happy.
Yeah.
It makes me wish I was sitting in there driving it because it looks like it's tuned up right. Then he goes right out next to the wall in the turn.
Gotta love a truck, though. Did you notice that shot? Look how you can look down in there and see the driver. I mean, they got the big windshield, big cab, and the driver's sitting down in there, and you can see him working.
And it should be a rule they have to wear white gloves so
I like
they can wash
that.
their hands.
That's right.
Todd Bodine, after his second lap, is quicker, 32.733, so he goes up to second quick.
Watch those hands. Watch them.
Of course, now you got to have a good cameraman to pick all this up, too. You know,
We've
it
got
doesn't just happen.
We've got them, too.
The best in the business doing it here.
We put them up there for about 12 hours, too.
Today, yeah.
I mean, we do it every week.
Where's the good we won't let them go home?
We just love the shots they bring us.
I think last night they showed us Jupiter at one point in time.
Are you sure about that?
I'm positive it was Jupiter, by the way.
Look how steady Kyle Busch's hands were as he comes to the green.
That's unusual.
Yeah.
He's not up to speed yet. Just wait.
We were talking about Matt Crafton and his consistency. How about the domination? 50% of his starts ended up in victory lane.
And I tell you, he runs a lot. He may be fast, but he has to be because he runs a lot further on the racetrack than anybody else because he's usually sideways and up and down. And the man just goes wherever the truck wants to go, and he chases it there. Watch him. That thing is hung out, but he's digging.
He looks pretty steady, though.
Got him some shades on, doesn't he?
Off there. Off the corner, he looked good.
Second quick on lap number 1, 32.465 for Kyle Busch.
Shut her down.
You said that's enough.
Again, it's not going to matter where he qualifies. He has to go to the back of the pack.
Adam Alexander.
And how's this for humility? I asked Matt Crafton, can you talk to us? He said, yeah, where am I? I said, you're at the top of the board. How'd it feel?
It was pretty good. And we changed a lot. I mean, yesterday we fired off. We were really loose in and got tied off. And this is what this place does. When we first go out here, the very first ones on the track, this place is so hard on tires. I mean, everybody always starts off free and then gets tight. And we kept working on things, making a turn. I honestly had no idea how it was going to qualify because when we did our qualifying runs last night, I was so loose doing it. And they made the right adjustments, and it was pretty good right now. But I think we have a really good race truck. I was really happy with my race truck. So this Australian Gold Chevy should be good tonight.
He's dodged a couple of bullets early in the session, and Rick, there's another pretty good one on track right now.
Yeah, he was fastest in practice in that first practice at 32.063. That was in practice. If he can back that up, he will go right to the top of the charts. It's Timothy Peters on the track.
17's been on the pole here before in the truck race.
How about that? He's up top now. 32.418.
As a matter of fact, the 17 truck holds a track record here.
I cannot believe it. I thought I was going to have to mention that.
Track side to Ray.
Oh, guys, while that 17's running a fast lap, they just added a little bit more tape to TJ Bell's truck down here. And on the hood, you see the Time Bandit. It's cool when we come down to Florida, lots of maritime types of sponsors. And the Time Bandit, one of the greenest ships on the entire ocean. TJ coming on the radio talking with his crew chief, Rick Gay, and saying, Timothy went pretty fast. Let's put some tape on this thing and see what the 11's got.
Timothy Peters, 32.412 on lap number 2. Again, has him at the top of the chart right now. We mentioned second place finishes. Darrell, do you remember how many second place finishes you have?
I don't.
58. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
58 times you furthest from first, I believe.
Let me rephrase that.
We looked it up, by the way. It says non-standard, humorous use only.
That's what I was going for.
Humorous use only. It's my boy right there.
But here's the thing about DW's 50-some second place finishes. He got 84 first place finishes.
Exactly.
And generally, if you can finish first more than you finish second, that's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Kyle Busch has finished second more than he's finished first this year, hasn't he?
How many times do you think Kyle Busch has finished first or second in the Nationwide and the Truck Series combined this year?
The both together, it's over 20.
I was going to say probably 27, 25,
30 times.
30
times. First and second.
The 81 truck, Taylor Malsom in the Stocks for Tots. That's a great charity initiative, isn't it? It's been going on in North Carolina right there in the Martinsville area for years. And it's really cool to see this on a truck. Concerned what he's dragging there, but it's fun to see it on a truck because it's a great event. A lot of fans come, sign autographs, and give toys away at Christmas time to kids that aren't fortunate enough to get everything that they deserve.
I think you have a big container at the front of MWR where people can come and donate toys already, don't you?
Yeah, and I want to, and we're there every day taking them, and so we'll donate those to Stocks for Tots and make that deal bigger and better than it's ever been this year. Everybody's involved and do a nice job of getting the toys for the kids.
6 quick for Taylor Malsom in his qualifying effort, 33.018 on his second lap.
Wonder what this is, Darrell. This is going to concern me if I'm that crew. That's a lot of dragging.
Well, it looks from about the middle of the truck back. I've got to say, it might be the trailing arm mounts, or it might be. It's something sort of in the middle of the truck. It's not the nose. I think it might be trailing arm mounts.
And it's not a deal where we can say, well, in the race, the air pressure is going to build up because the air pressure is already up for qualifying. They're going to put the air pressure way up for qualifying, so I don't think he's going to gain a whole lot there.
They might have to work on that.
They might have to.
Oh, don't worry. It'll wear off.
Fastest guy on the racetrack, Timothy Peters, is with Adam Alexander.
And he's got to be pleased with his qualifying run. You went early, so is that lap good enough to hold him off?
We'll see, but our strutmasters.com Toyota Tundra was pretty good off the liftgate yesterday, but just what an incredible year that I've been able to have with Tom DeLoach and to be at Homestead and running as well as we are. Hopefully it'll just fade on into the race, and who never know, maybe we can get us another win like we did at Martinsville, but really proud of all the guys on this team. Tom DeLoach for an awesome opportunity, Toyota, strutmasters.com, Chad Kendrick, the guys, Pit Road. It's going to be a good Christmas.
And we understand that he's gone to second. Hornady just went by to the top of the board.
Apparently the changes that were made by Rick Wren were good ones. The Longhorn Chevy Silverado, 32.253 on his first lap. He thought that's good enough. Top of the charts goes Hornady. Skinner wants to take him off. Speed presentation of NASCAR Camping World Truck Series qualifying from Homestead is brought to you by Camping World, the official RV and outdoor retailer of NASCAR. I'd like to thank the race fans for all your support.
And I would like to thank Camping World for all their support. They made this fun. They're the perfect sponsor for our truck series. Campers all over the place.
You got a camper?
I do. We all live in campers.
I got a camper. I mean, I wonder what I do about my camper.
I think right now, Richard Harriman would like to be in a camper. His qualifying effort didn't turn out as well as he wanted it to.
I got it, Brad.
Does a really nice job, though. It gets away from him, but does a nice job of cranking that thing to the right, holding that gas wide open and keeping it out of that outside wall. He can race that truck, and that's a good accomplishment.
Put him some tires on there in races, but he did a nice job here. Normally you would see those trucks back into the outside wall, but by virtue of the fact that he stayed in the throttle, kept the forward rotation going on the rear tires, he kept that thing from back on the fence.
You know, something you don't realize, I saw an overhead shot of this track a little earlier today from the blimp, Goodyear blimp. That turn 4 is not symmetric. It's not like 1 and 2. 1 and 2 are pretty symmetrical. Turns 4, for some odd reason, just kind of all of a sudden you run out of room. And that's why you see a lot of these cats getting loose and getting wiggly and juking off of turn 4. It's a little bit different radius out of that corner than what you expect it to be.
Adam Alexander, is Ron Hornaday going for the win of everything at this track?
I would guess that is the case. Ron Hornaday talked to us about the changes Rick Wren made to this truck, and I assume they worked. You were quickest.
That won't hold up, but heck of a job from yesterday. I mean, that's what's so good about this team. That's why they come down here being the champions. And got to thank Longhorn for coming aboard. And the whole year's been great. And that's what I'm saying. You're down and out. I'm a little sick all week long. And as you can see, I'm sweating a little bit. But they just give me great trucks, and I just keep to drive them. A lot of fun.
You clinched the championship last year last week from a driver's perspective. You talked all week about wanting to give Kevin the owner's title. So what's the balance of patience and aggression in this race tonight?
We got to run it like we always do. I just can't be stupid and wreck on the first lap like I did, last year down at Phoenix. So we're just going to have to, just keep them in our sights all day long. I think we got to finish ninth or better. And would really like to win this one. I won down here once with Dave Fugis with 2 tire stops, so hopefully we have the truck to do that. I know Kevin's got an awesome truck, so if we can take this Longhorn Chevrolet and run second to him or win the race, we'll do that.
He's off to a good start tonight, Ray.
I'll tell you, Adam, one of the least happy drivers yesterday in practice was Mike Skinner. Mike, we listened to you on the radio yesterday. You did a lot of complaining. How many changes have you guys made to this X-Side Tundra?
Well, this X-Side Batteries PC Miler Navigator Tundra was really fast in a qualifying situation yesterday. Wasn't very good in race. So in an effort to try to make it race better, Eric Phillips has made quite a few changes to the truck, hopefully to make it race better. Will it help at qualifying or hurt at qualifying? We'll know here in just a little bit.
Hornaday ran a 25. What do you think it'll take to get the pole?
We just need to back up what we ran last night.
All right, go get him. Skinner in the 5, ready to roll.
It'll take a 24, Ray.
Tonight on Speed, 6:30. It's nationwide practice. Then 7:30, Chris Devoto will get us kicked off with the setup. At 8 o'clock, just after, the green flag will fly before 200, and then we'll all get wrapped up with trackside tonight at 10:30 p.m.
Bobby Labonte and Kelly Byers, both with new opportunities for 2010, will join the trackside crowd and tell about what their plans are. That's fun.
Kelly's going to make his debut with JR Motorsports tomorrow in the nationwide race, driving the number 5 car. Going to be in the 88 next year full time.
I think I get to be on trackside tomorrow, but I had to promise them I'd bring them something.
Where are you going to bring them?
Easy Grills.
Easy Grills? I saw you doing a
You're going to bring me one
morning.
too, aren't you? Because I'm going to be on there too, Don't, just because I'm brother don't mean.
I'll bring them because they are so fun.
Okay.
Wait till you use
You know
one.
who else going to be on there, and you might want to bring him one too. Mike Helton.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I fished with him Tuesday and Wednesday this week. We did a charity event for the NASCAR Foundation and sailfished in the Bill France Memorial Tournament. Raised a lot of money and caught a lot of fish.
Did you catch a sailfish?
I caught 2 sailfishes.
How big?
I don't know. They don't weigh. Have you ever done that?
Sounds like a fish story already. Yeah. I'm starting to hear.
They do a catch and release. You pull them up to the boat, take a picture of them, and they go away.
Got you.
Norm Benning, 10th quick of the 10 that have been on the racetrack, 36.128.
50 pounds, I'd guess.
Is that slowest?
That's another word for it.
10th quick of 10.
I always try to go with the positive.
But you got old Norm has done pretty good this year.
He has.
He's had some pretty good runs. He finished like 10th in the ARCA race, wasn't it, back in Daytona? Back in February. I know it's a long time ago, but and y'all look at me like, are you serious? But he's been all right.
He's been competitive for sure.
He's hung in there this year.
That's right. He's put that truck in the top 30 in truck owner points. It gives him a guaranteed starting spot.
I think
been here every week. He's the he's the type of guy that you need as a backbone of this.
Wasn't it Colin Brown that gave him the Christmas card as far as getting the win at Michigan when he set the pick for Kyle Busch? I think it was Norm Benning that they were going by as Colin Brown was able to stay in front of Kyle Busch.
That's only June. Daryl was trying to have us remember.
I was going to say, I'm talking about
I can
February.
remember June, and I think you're right. It was Norm Benning.
Look at TJ Bell in there. He's driving the heck out of that truck.
Ray Dunlap.
Rick, you are right. It was Norm Benning, and this is the very same truck that Colin Brown used to get that win. And This is your last start probably in the Camping World Trucks for a while, so how hard are you going to push it to get another one?
Well, certainly, you know, we got to win a race tonight, I think, just to get back in the top 5 in points. That's the whole goal for this number 6 Conway Freight team. I feel like these guys have worked really hard and certainly deserve to be back up in the top 5 in points. So I know the best way to guarantee that is if we win the race, and then we did all we could do.
50 wins in this series for Roush Fenway, and yesterday Colin Braun was 3rd in practice.
Remember, Colin is tied for the series lead in poles with the guy right now that's on top, Ron Hornady. So I know he would like to knock Ron off the pole and maybe win that award for the year.
TJ Bell, 7th quick in his qualifying effort, 33.008. Kevin Harvick running into his race truck. He's been extremely good in practice. We'll see if he can convert that practice speed into qualifying.
Sunday on speed with a title on the line. NASCAR race day heads to Homestead. Wendy Venturini sits down with championship contender Jimmy Johnson and Mark Martin, along with their owner Rick Hendricks. NASCAR race day built by the Home Depot, live Sunday at 11:30 Eastern. NASCAR on speed. Be there.
That was good.
And we will be.
Here's your 20 bucks. I swore you couldn't do it.
Brian Silas on the racetrack, 11th quick on lap number 1, 33.970.
Well, Daryl, for the last 25 years, I've known exactly what I was going to do the next year. And I don't now, so I'm starting to really pay attention to these cards and trying to learn how to read them.
You know what?
Should I be nervous about that, by the way?
It tells you getting old.
Well, Russell told us yesterday.
We confirmed that yesterday with Russell.
Yeah, he told us exactly to the hour.
Many hours old.
Yeah.
Brian Silas slows down on lap number 2. 33.970 was lap number 1, and that slots him 11th quick.
I used to tell Earnhardt, I said, Bud, your best years are behind you. It used to make him so mad.
You know, we saw Brian scrub up against the wall in that truck yesterday. They got it beat out, and certainly a competitive time he ran there considering the problems he had yesterday.
I like 48. That was my number when I used to race in Nashville back in the fairgrounds day. And I was going to be number 48 when I came to Cup. I applied for the number, and I thought, well, I'm 48 in the Busch Series then, or Grand National Series then. Surely they'll give me the number. It was James Hilton's, and he wouldn't let me have it. So ended up with 95.
And James had it from the mid-'60s, so he'd had it a while.
Long time.
Right. And then the guy that has it now is doing a pretty nice job.
Not doing bad.
Chad McCumbee on the racetrack for his qualifying effort.
Do you think there's anything in the numbers? I mean, you think numbers really do anything for you?
Well, if it gives you confidence, then I would say yes.
I mean, you know, athletes, they like to have certain numbers on their uniforms, and I just always thought it was important to have the right number.
Look where Chad's right down on the bottom of the racetrack. Looks like he's got a good lap going.
Yeah, he was outside front row at Chicago, his best start of the year, and all the way to the top with a 32.224.
That truck just looked fast the way he went around this track.
See there, now he's riding the rim. I mean, riding the bottom, and you know, the next guy might be fast up around the top.
I like the way that truck looked.
I like the bottom myself.
Valvoline jumped on board a couple races ago to enable Chad to continue on with the 2009 season. It looks like it's paying off here at Homestead.
They've always had Tiwi on that truck.
Whoa now.
Yeah, Tiwi came on board to help them through the middle part of the season.
But you know, there's another kid. It's just, I mean, he's been so close on so many occasions to get disappointed the way he has.
Good job, Ted.
Bobby Donner fielding those trucks.
Look at his hands. I love that you guys said that. Phil, did you say they had to wear white gloves? It should be a rule.
It should be a rule, yes.
I agree with you, because look at him work that truck.
But look at it. Look at his face. Look at his face. Look at his eyes. He's right down in that steering wheel, man. And those hands and those eyes are working together.
What a great camera shot that is, too. And that's pretty tough. I was up playing with the camera last week, and those guys are busy now.
And remember, they're going over 165 miles an hour when they're working their way through those turns. Let's go down trackside to Ray.
Well, let's talk to Rick Crawford, former winner at this racetrack. It's been a few years, but how good's your Ford tonight?
Yeah, that was my first win. It's pretty good for Ford Championship weekend. Brought a good piece down here, run pretty good off the trailer, and it drives good around other trucks. So, but my hat's off to International Trucking Engine for being with us for 3 years during their contract, and I really appreciate what they've done. Thanks to Ford for making Homestead their Ford Championship weekend, and to Ron Hornady for winning our championship already. That's a great team down there. I told Kevin Harvick he's got his team surrounded by good people, and they're a force to reckon with whenever they come to a racetrack. So, but I've had a great time this year. I hate this is our last race, and to see everybody in 2010 live right here on Speed.
And we sure hope to see Rick Crawford back here. Some questions in the air as to what will happen at Circle Bar Racing next year, but Rick getting ready to give it his best in race 25.
Mike Skinner trying to give it his best as well. Third quick, 32.350. He'll have to pick it up over a tenth of a second if he wants to grab the pole away from Chad McCumbee.
You know, he's third. He's third. He's given up on this lap. He doesn't like it. He's third fastest, but he ran a line totally opposite of the guy that's first, and they're within a tenth of a second of one another.
That cat right there was just chasing his truck. It just kind of was driving him. He wasn't driving it. And I can't believe the time he put up there.
That was a good first lap. Look at the truck did not look that good.
It looked awful.
So Chad McCumbee has set the mark that everyone is shooting for now. 32.224 is the time. We'll see if anyone can take him off the top. Welcome back to Homestead-Miami Speedway. Tonight, nationwide practice will follow our qualifying. And Chris Devoda gets us kicked off with the Camping World Truck Series setup at 7:30, followed by the Ford 200 at 8 o'clock and trackside at 10:30.
There's a 25 truck. Mike Bliss jumped in his truck. He's 7th quickest. He's going to abort lap number 2. Going to do one and done. 32.631. And remember, guys, we're used to seeing Terry Cook drive this 25 truck, and Terry is not here. He's actually here running a nationwide race, but not running a truck. And how many consecutive races has he started?
296. That was a record prior to tonight, and so an amazing record. He and Rick Crawford have been the Iron Men of this series, both having over 300 starts. But you're right, Phil. A name that is definitely missed here on our entry list.
He must be getting old like me too.
Let's go trackside to Adam Alexander.
Closing on halfway in the qualifying session, Chad McCumbee is fastest, and it looked like you had to earn that good lap.
Yeah, you know, we guys on the T-Weave Valvoline Fuel Proof Guarantee Chevy did a great job. Hopefully that hangs on. You know, I think I've had 5 or 6 outside poles in this series and just barely get beat so many times. So it'd be really nice to hang on for one, but that'll get us a good spot. It's cooling down, so these guys are going to have some good shots at getting us. But great effort from the guys, a good way to start the last race of the season.
They worked very hard in race trim last night as well, Ray, so it should be fun to watch the 07 when the green flag goes in the air.
And Adam, the banquet is Tuesday night here in Miami, and this guy will get to go on stage. Going to be Rookie of the Year. I'm sure you're happy about that. A win this season. How are you going to cap it off tonight in race number 25?
I don't know. I mean, in any event, you know, we're still racing to try and stay in the top 5 in points, and just super proud of all the guys at ThorSport. We've actually struggled here since we've unloaded. We unloaded our fastest lap since we've been here has been our 3rd lap, so we just lost speed. So I don't know. We just got to keep it one piece, and you never know. It didn't feel like we were that bad in race trim, but nonetheless, it's going to be exciting and down to the wire, and that's the way we like it.
All right, we wish you good luck. And guys, what a battle we've got going from 4th back to try to find out who's going to make it on the stage Tuesday night.
Colin Braun, one of those drivers that's battling for that. Chad McCumbee, well, he started 2nd 5 times, still no pole, and guess what? Colin Braun just took him out of that top spot.
Isn't the banquet Monday night?
The banquet is Monday night, but it will air on Speed December 4th, and that moves right into the live Sprint Cup banquet, which will also air on Speed.
The combined Camping World Truck Series Nationwide Series banquet will air at 7 p.m. on December 4th, followed immediately by live coverage of the 2009 Sprint Cup Series banquet from Las Vegas.
Do you think they told Ray it was Tuesday night so he wouldn't come in and get on everybody's nerves?
I'm pretty sure he's got a tux here. Now, this is one of the trucks that has been extremely good in practice.
Extremely good right now.
Yeah, can he work it out on the racetrack?
I think he probably.
3rd quick for Kevin Harvick, 32.227.
One thing we were noticing, Michael and I were poking each other. That 6th truck of Colin Braun,
glued, wasn't he?
We knew he was fast. I mean, we didn't have to look at the clock. You could just tell he was flying.
And remember now, he's trying to win the award for the most poles in the season. Obviously, Hornady's not going to get it, and Colin Braun certainly stands in good shape to maybe get that award.
Kevin Harvick down to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to pick it up on lap number 2.
Kevin's just a little loose. He couldn't do exactly what he wanted to do in that truck. I don't believe he dove to the bottom, but he couldn't keep it pinned down there.
Does not increase the speed on lap 2. He stays at 32.227. And so Kevin Harvick will stay slotted in the 3rd position.
He ran a 2.4 on the 2nd lap, and there's a pretty good chance tonight he'll run a whole bunch of laps together like that again. He's he's got a really good truck for race trim, just like he did last week at Phoenix.
He might not be on the pole, but he can sure see the front from where he's going to be.
And I think that's another new truck.
Brand spanking new.
Last week
2010 version of KHI's trucks.
Ray Dunlap.
Well, David Starr jumping in his Zachary Tundra. David, the last race of the season, you haven't gotten a victory yet this year. Do you guys try anything different tonight to get to victory lane?
Man, we're just doing what we do every week. Jason Miller and all the guys on our Zachary Toyota team are working hard. We're pretty aggressive on the setup. Only problem is yesterday we were trying to make qualifying runs. We were so loose you couldn't barely drive it. Under race circumstances, the truck was really good, but you don't want to start in the back. You need to start closer to the front. So I'm really a little nervous about having a good run here. We need to start up near the front to have a chance on moving up a little bit in this points race. And hopefully we have some for tonight. Let's see.
All right, good luck to you, David. And guys, we heard an awful lot yesterday in practice where these drivers said they were so loose, they had no input. They couldn't turn the wheel hardly at all through the center of the corner.
Good lap by Jay White, 9th quickest, 32.586, 165.715.
Jason was over at the charity event this week at South Beach for the NASCAR Foundation.
Also fishing.
To me, this is one of the things that's fun about this sport, watching the progression of Jason White and that Gunbroker team in 2009.
Did you get him? You ought to get him a GPS. You're going to give everybody else a barbecue grill. You ought to get him a GPS.
Give Ray a calendar, too.
I don't think Ray's off. I think they invited Ray to be there Tuesday night. You know, kind of cleanup man. Come in late after everybody's gone.
Adam Alexander, you've got a pretty quick guy, don't you?
Truth is, Ray is usually there 24 hours after the party is over. But anyway, Colin Braun, quickest so far, and you'd like to have the most poles in 2009. So what do you think?
Well, you know, certainly getting the pole here was a big thing for us. Hopefully we get it. But we made 2 mock qualifying runs. We kind of focused a little bit on trying to get the pole, I think, and I think it's paid off. I feel like that's a pretty good lap. You know, I'm sure somebody will go faster, but you know, to be tied with Hornady for most poles is pretty neat. So hopefully we can put it over the edge with this number 6 Conway Freight Ford F-150. My guys just gave me such a fast truck. It's just a pleasure to drive, that's for sure.
Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
See, drivers are funny, aren't they? They don't ever. He's very confident he won the pole, but then on the other hand, maybe I didn't. So they always kind of leave a little crack in the door. Just a little wiggle room. Just a little sidestepping, you know.
Well, he looked like his truck looked like it handled better than everybody else's.
Fastest truck I've seen. That's all I think.
Well, obviously, he's first.
Don't contradict your older brother.
No, it's perfect.
All right.
I just said it looked fast. He actually knows it was fast.
Yeah. Rick Crawford shuts it down after his first lap, 32.669. That's 11th quick.
Got any more cards he can read over there?
I don't
Let
know
him
if
have
I
it
wanted
now.
to.
Let him have it now so he can start practice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that last one, I want everybody at home to know that they just handed it to me
that was
last second.
No, I was impressed. It cost me $20.
I think Johnny Sauter may be the last bullet that Colin Braun will have to dodge to stay up on top. Up on top.
Johnny Sauter, about 3 trucks away from his qualifying efforts. Stacey Compton on the track now. Stacey was 20th quick in the first practice.
And 19th in the second. So that truck doesn't have the speed. It doesn't appear to be up front in qualifying. Running way up the racetrack.
Coming off a top 10 last week at Phoenix. 2 of the last 3 races, Stacey ended up with top 10 finishes.
You know, it's always exciting to finish the year with some good runs like that. But then, by the same token, then you say, okay, the season's over with. Darn, you know, now we got to wait all winter to see what happens next February when we start all over again. You want to just keep going.
First lap for Stacey Compton, 16th quick. Now we watch Stacey. He runs a little higher line. Is this going to be indicative of what we're going to see in the race tonight? Different lines all over the racetrack.
For sure. I mean, there'll be guys just welded to that outside wall and guys right down around the apron. I think in the trucks, Darryl, and you tell me your opinion, that you'll probably want to be closer to the bottom in order to win this race.
I think you'll see. Actually, I think you'll see them everywhere. But like we said, to me, with less horsepower, if you could run the high line and keep your speed up, it might be a little bit advantageous to be up around the top. I think that's where Kyle Busch will probably be.
And I think if, you know, like in a qualifying scenario, when you're trying to run these things wide open,
right?
I agree that it's going to be the shortest way around. But in the race conditions, when you're going to have to back off and search for some more grip, I think they may fade to the high side.
I think they're going to look like a covey of quails is what I think.
How about the youth versus veterans? Your top 5 here. Colin Braun, Chad McCumbee, Harvick, Hornady, and Skinner.
When you dream, do you dream in speed? Introducing the Speed Dream Ride. You'll see new shows, old favorites, and have the chance to win an experience you've never dreamed possible. The Speed Dream Ride is coming soon, presented by Castrol Edge. Find out more at speeddreamride.com.
Later on this evening, Jesse James, who's a part of Dream Ride, will be on our setup with Chris Devoda, as well as she is singing the national anthem.
You got to be kidding me.
That is correct.
And singing the national anthem?
This is a bullet here, guys. Yeah. Colin Braun will be watching this truck closely. I don't know if anybody else really has a legitimate shot at beating him.
I really don't think so. I'm looking at the practice speeds and where they ranked, and nobody in the top 15 is yet to go other than Johnny Sauter right here. And this truck, he's fading up a little bit high.
I know, but I think it's just because he gassed it up. I mean, I think you chase it up there. If you try to stay wide open, you're going to run it up the hill like that. His hands look pretty solid. Not moving around much. At least he didn't on that end. Let's see what he looks like down here. Kind of got that middle groove, letting her wash up a little bit, a little tight maybe. Still looks pretty good, nice and steady.
That 6 truck looks so good, though.
Good.
The
9th quick for Johnny Sauter.
Yeah, wasn't that
deceiving. I wanted Michael to jump all over that, by the way, but
he wasn't that good.
The 6th truck, he went down to the bottom and it stuck.
Oh, yeah.
We've seen the other trucks go down to the bottom and have to be driving it left and right.
That's what he was doing.
Yeah, the first half of the
sliding
corner,
it up the hill.
He was very similar to the 6, but the second half of the corner, he had to chase that truck up the hill.
You can see it right there. He just got that front end not hooked up quite tight enough, and it pushes up the hill.
Still going to be a decent effort for Johnny Sauter. He's going to see if he can pick it up on lap number 2. Just a little bit, does not change positions. 32.517 is his fastest lap, 166.067.
Slots in just ahead of Jason White. Jason rounds out our top 10.
23 trucks have been on the racetrack. 38 are here to try to fill in the 36 spots that will start tonight's race. Speed's coverage of NASCAR Camping World Truck Series qualifying from Homestead is brought to you by Toyota. For the latest Toyota racing information, visit toyotaracing.com. Toyota, moving forward. Beautiful sunset here in Homestead-Miami. The 08 comes off the racetrack. That's Brett Butler. He was 19th quick. Picked it up a bit on his second lap.
They're hoping to run some more races with that. Rick Ware is actually involved with S&S Green Light Racing with this truck. Looking to run some more races next year with Fuel Doctor Brett Butler.
Brett's done a good job getting up to speed in these trucks. Run a bunch of late model races. Started out in Legends cars, and now he's up to the trucks, and he's really getting his legs under him. It's fun to see.
Talking about numbers, when I see that 24, I always think about Gordon. Cecil
Gordon. I was nodding my head like, of course you think of Gordon.
You wouldn't know anything about that, Rick. It was way back in the day.
It was before my time.
I think that truck's pushing. He went down in there. We saw him let off the gas. The fire came out of the exhaust pipe, so he had to get out of the gas. It just wasn't going to turn with him. And 15th fastest on his first lap. I don't see this one being any better with that problems he had down in 1 and 2.
Jake Elder, you say to me, all I hear is poosh, poosh, poosh.
Trying to improve on lap number 2. David Starr crosses the stripe. He does pick it up 1 spot. He moves to 14th quick, 32.911. So David Starr slows. The next to go out on the racetrack will be Wheeler Boys and Derek White.
Make your plans now for the 2010 Daytona 500 and purchase a specially priced Trackside Tavern ticket package. You'll get a Daytona Super Stretch ticket and exclusive admission to the Speed Trackside Tavern. For more details, go to speedtv.com, keyword promo.
That's actually the most tongue twister promo that they have, and they gave it to obviously our most veteran broadcaster.
Makes me nervous.
You're going to be in Daytona, won't you, in February?
I'll be there, yes. That's our 10th year, believe it or not.
That's gone by fast, hasn't it?
It's I think it's our 7th Daytona 500, but it's 10 years on Fox.
Wheeler Boys winds up his qualifying effort. Picks it up about a half a tenth on that second lap, 34.622.
Is that Trevor's son?
Yes, it is.
It is. Yep. From Calgary.
Calgary.
Trevor was number 48.
Was he?
For James Hilton.
Yes,
Yep,
he was.
sure
Oh,
did.
when he drove for Hilton,
Yep.
yeah, that's right.
Yep. Me and Phil know a bunch of unnecessary information.
Our heads just filled with it.
Speaking of unnecessary information, Ray Dunlap.
Thank you, guys. I'm checking my calendar here to see when Daytona was. If you remember back at the Daytona race, probably one of the worst wrecks I've seen, Brent Raymer took this 85 hard into the wall. I'm going to give him a nomination for our Speed Performance Awards biggest hit of the year. But check it out. Finally, a little bit of sponsorship on the side of this truck for him this weekend. Ford Drive One came on board for him, and Brent is trying to put together a deal to run all of the races in 2010. I think they ran 15 or 16 events this season, but everybody knows how difficult that is, but that is his goal, to go to all 25 next season.
Well, Ray, you know I was joking there, right?
That hit, like Ray said, at Daytona, that scared me. I mean,
coming off a turn 2.
He was way down on the bottom, and the thing just hooked on him.
About his head on into the wall as you could go.
Yeah, we're into the go or go home part of qualifying here. The first one to go out there was Wheeler Boys. Now Derek White on the mark. He is actually a little slower than Wheeler Boys. Again, 38 trucks are trying for the 36 spots. So we've got 2 guys that are going to go home tonight. Derek White doesn't want to be one of them.
Going to have a big pickup to try to get ahead of Wheeler Boys, and that's going to be a little bit comforting for Wheeler Boys, knowing that the very first truck that he had to beat, he did beat. He only has to beat one more to get in this show.
You can see that truck just isn't working. He went down in the corner with enough speed, but it just wouldn't turn.
It just doesn't have any, doesn't look like it has any grip in it. It's just kind of sliding on top of the track.
35.361 for Derek White, so he's just a bit slower than Wheeler Boys. 11 more trucks will take to the racetrack to find out who will race later this evening. Beautiful sunset here in the Homestead, Florida area. Welcome back to Ford 200 qualifying from Homestead-Miami Speedway.
That's a beautiful sight, isn't it?
You know, Michael, you said you're out on the ocean, I guess, fishing. You know, the old sailor saying, red sky at night, sailor's delight. Red sky in the morning, sailor take warning.
Ray.
I'd like to know that.
Hey,
Ray, I don't know what Daryl's talking about.
I don't know, but let me see if I can get you out of that one. You know, one of the things about Ricky Carmichael running a partial schedule this season, he'd run a race, take 2 or 3 weeks off, have a race, take a couple of weeks off. Next year, he gets to go for them all, and you guys are trying to get ahead of the learning curve a little bit. How's it going here with Turner Motorsports?
Oh, it's awesome. You know, we're doing pretty good. Obviously, we got a little bit of work to do. We'll have all new stuff next year, so that'll be good. And it's just going to be good seat time. I mean, basically, that's what we're here for this weekend. And we'll come locked and loaded at Daytona next year. And I love this NASCAR Truck Series and looking forward to it.
All right, and guys, John Monson crew chiefing this effort for him, and they've thrown an awful lot at this 31 truck this weekend.
The GOAT.
Greatest of all time.
Yes.
That's it, buddy.
15 championships on 2
Just
wheels.
got too many wheels on them.
Yeah.
Dan Brody got that thing in the show on lap number 1 and ran a little bit quicker on lap number 2, 34.060.
Saw Dan Brody yesterday spending a lot of time talking to Todd Bodine, just trying to understand some of Todd's experience and some of his knowledge about this track and how he might want to run it. Obviously, it paid off. He got that truck right into the field.
Remember, Todd won this race last year. He dominated Florida last season, winning at Daytona in February and here in November. Won Daytona February this year, so going to try to do it 2 years in a row.
This could be one of those teams, Phil, that we talk about Jason White and that team that he drives for and the job that they've done getting better and better and establishing themselves. It's fun to see if Brent Raymer could be that story for 2010. We heard about sponsorship on the side of the truck, trying to run all the races next year. It'll be neat to see if Brett can get his legs under him and progress up the chart like we've seen Jason White and that team do.
Great to see that sponsor. Not only is it, any kind of sponsor, that's Ford Motor Company that jumped on board that truck. So they obviously see something in Brent that they want to be a part of.
Well, when you go to these super speedways and you're driving a vehicle, a truck at 180 miles an hour, that takes a little bit of adjusting and getting used to. So this first time around, you're seeing things you've never seen before, experiencing things you've never experienced before. That's why, come back the second year, it usually pays off.
Brent Raymer locks himself into tonight's race. He's 25th quick, 34.249. That keeps Wheeler Boys on the bubble.
Bet you Brent picks it up on this lap. That thing looked a little bit faster down through 1 and 2 the second time through there. Like he was knowing he just had to get the truck in the race on the first lap. Didn't want to do anything crazy. Now he's going to pick up the pace a little bit.
Get that comfortable lap in that first one. They tell you that's you're in, and then maybe pick it up a tad.
Brent Raymer does pick it up. 22nd quick, 33.433. So over 0.8 of a second he increases on lap number 1.
Good job.
We told you. Colin Braun still fastest. It's knock-in qualifying now. Speed's continued coverage of NASCAR from Homestead continues with nationwide practice just after our qualifying. Then the setup with Chris Devote at 7:30. The Ford 200, the final race of the 2009 season for the Camping World Truck Series. And then trackside will round it all up at 10:30 p.m. this evening.
It's late, 10:30.
Can you stay up that late?
I have to TiVo that.
We're going to be on trackside.
Oh, I am? Well, let me see.
It might be hard for you to TiVo while you're up there on stage.
I may just text her in.
Hey, Daryl, Phil and I like to talk about how old we are and how much we've seen this sport grow. And I tell the story, and Phil agrees, Lance Hooper locks himself into the race, 33.87, so he's going to race tonight. I tell the story about getting in the car with Mom and Dad and going listening to you race. We'd have to drive an hour from Owensboro to sit on the side of the road and listen to Daryl race on the radio. You get up at 8 o'clock now in the morning, turn on Speed, and you can watch cars all day long.
Trucks.
How cool is that?
Well, it's great because, first of all, you know, we talk about racers. And racers, I always say thank God for Michael and my brother. Thank God for Tony Stewart. Thank God for Kevin Harvick. These guys are racers. They're going to be here racing. If the economy, absolutely, if we were in a depression, these guys are going to figure out a way to make it to the racetrack. So you got to have racers involved in the sport all the time. And that's what we all were back in the day. We were racers. We didn't even think about how much money we could make. Man, we just wanted to pay our bills. You know, maybe win a trophy or, you know, hold a checkered flag every now and then.
You sound to me like you're describing Kyle Busch, a guy who works on his truck. I mean, he's laying underneath there. He's trying to figure out exactly how he can make his truck better, and he doesn't take one dime from Billy Blue Motorsports when he wins the race or wherever he finishes.
And none of us are jealous of what these guys are accomplishing today. The guys, old guys like me, we're excited that the sport is still going the way it is, as strong as it is. And we can get up in the morning and watch it on TV or listen to it on Sirius Radio or whatever.
Well, we can do that because of people like you, my brother Benny, and all the people that have come before us and paved the way for us. And, you know, we debate all the time, and we've been talking about lately, you know, Jimmy Johnson, Daryl, is on the verge of possibly doing something that's never been done before in our sport, winning 4 championships in a row. And in this era now, you know, the competition has been strong forever. But, you know, this is a very, very competitive era. You know, since he started running the Cup Series, he has 22 more wins than anybody else does during that time period. 22 more than anybody else does during that time period. That's some pretty good domination there.
Well, and again, I know this guy did a heck of a job right here.
Locked himself in.
He did. But I can tell you about Jimmy Johnson. He is so low-keyed, and he's so laid back, and he is a humble man. I've never heard him brag about what he's done. And that's why people, I think, have a hard time embracing him, is because he's not boisterous. He just goes out. He puts his work clothes on. When he's a slick guy. He puts on his loafers and his slacks through the week. But when he gets in that race car, he puts his work clothes on.
This is the greatest of all time on 2 wheels. Would you have to say at least Jimmy Johnson has to be considered as one of the greatest of all times?
How many great drivers have you seen? Just about all of them, right? Yep. How many have I seen? Just about all of them, right? He's the best I've ever seen. And I say that sincerely.
And so many people have said, oh, he ruins the competition. But it's not ruining the competition. It is so impressive what he does.
His job is to go beat everybody.
Exactly, and that's exactly what he does.
And he does it humbly, like Daryl said. And it's amazing to me that the fans don't embrace him. He's not controversial.
Nope.
He's very, very humble. It just amazes me that I think people are going to look back 20 years from now and say, I'm really glad I got to witness that.
You got it.
Solid effort by this GOAT. He puts it up in the 13th spot on his first lap. I'm not allowed to talk to Jimmy anymore. I don't know if you heard that story or not. So
Texas. Didn't go well for Michael.
I can only talk about him. I can't talk to him.
Do you want me to talk to him for you?
Maybe.
Tell him we said good luck. Tell him we said good luck.
Maybe Monday you could talk to him for me.
I'll give him a call.
Oh, he's going to spin out. No. Get away from that wall. What a shame. He had such a solid first lap.
trying to get just a little bit more out of it.
Get the backup.
Get the backup.
Monster Energy drink on the side of that truck. Rear end's tore up pretty bad.
See if we can fix it. That's a lot of work to do to a truck in a very short period of time.
We don't have a great deal of time before this race starts. We're only a couple hours away from this race starting. I think backup is the plan.
That's a shame. It just
yeah, and it's hurt worse than it. You know, when you see these things back up in the fence, like you say, oh, it's not that bad. Trust me, when you back in the wall at 175, 80 mile an hour like this right here, watch it fold up all the way to the rear of the back window up there.
We talk about front clips, rear clips. I mean, that's a situation where the whole rear end could be off now.
Yeah, I mean, you could pound it out. You know, you got time to pound it out and get it back, you know, get it lined up a little bit, but it's still not going to be right. So if they've got to back up, I'd go to it.
You know, look at the damage on the back of that truck, and he did not make significant contact with the outside wall, but there's really mostly just sheet metal back behind the rear axle, and that's why the thing folds up slightly.
Plus, like Daryl said, he's running 170 miles an hour. You know, anything is going to.
What drives me crazy, and we see it all of these go or go home guys, he's in the race. He's 13th. Stop. Pit. Yep. Come in.
Yep. Somebody get on the radio, say, you're in, Bob. You're in.
13th quick on his first lap for Ricky Carmichael, but the problem was lap 2. Trying to get a little bit more, and into the outside wall he goes. So Ricky Carmichael may have to go to a backup truck. If they do, he'll have to go to the back. Welcome back. Qualifying continuing. We've had 33 trucks on the racetrack. Mark Davis, 26 quick on his first lap. He's trying to get a little bit more. Let's hope he doesn't have the same result as that 31. He's chasing it up the track.
I'm just not real sure about these guys going for these second laps when they're pretty solidly in.
He's locked right into the show.
Even with the wiggle, he moves up a spot. 25th quick, 33.585 for Mark Davis.
You know, Daryl, it's hard to tell a guy not to try no one. I mean, it's probably smart.
And you know, it's funny you say that because that's kind of the dilemma I think that Chad and Jimmy are in. It's hard to tell Jimmy not to try to win this race. It's hard to tell Jimmy you're on the pole by a couple of tenths over everybody else, but you don't just lead that first lap and then back off. And then somebody's going to say, never won here before. You know, it's your opportunity to win one.
Yeah. People say he doesn't have that great a record here, but because he's never had to race for anything.
How about a 19-year-old Mark Davis? Doesn't he need another lap just to get more seat time, a little more experience?
He's better now because of it. Don't you agree, Daryl? He learned the limits of that truck. He was able to run a little bit faster. He went down in there. He didn't wreck the truck and moves up the grid. So arguably, Rick, you know, probably so. That was a good lap for that kid to run. It gave him more knowledge. He's more confident, I think, now. He's like, if this thing gets a little sideways, I can drive it.
If Rick Wren was his crew chief, Rick Wren would say, bring it in now.
You're going to get 134 laps later on.
He's a rookie. Probably got a lot of young rookie people working with him. They don't know. You know, they say, well, that's a good lap. Maybe we can get a better one.
Right.
They got to think about big picture.
Mike Garvey on the racetrack, and speaking big pictures, the 31 of Ricky Carmichael will have to go to a backup truck. At least that's what they're planning on doing.
I heard some chatter on the radio that they were contemplating fixing it some, but I don't know. The backup truck's all the way over on the back straightaway, Rick, and there's not a whole lot of time between now and when they're going to throw the green flag on this truck race tonight.
I think it depends on how ready that backup truck is. If it's ready just to roll off the truck and warm the oil up and ready to go, then I think that's a good call.
Wiggle there for Mr. Garvey.
But you're always thinking you can fix it until you start crawling under it and measuring around a little bit, and then you say, uh-oh.
He locks himself in the race, 27th quick.
Looks like Mike's been around. Maybe run a second lap, but
he's been around a long time.
He has. He's won a lot of races.
A lot of races, all pro, and you know, all through the different divisions, ASA.
See that splitter set up pretty good.
Was that splitter broken? No, it looked like it was a little bit lower in the middle portion. Maybe not.
It did actually. It looks like that brace is pulling up the center, and on the right side, it looks like it is cracked.
It'd be the left side.
right side that I was looking at.
But it's always the left side of the truck, though.
Always.
As far as I can tell.
27th quick for Mike Garvey. He was faster on his first lap, 33.693. Colin Brown still fastest at Homestead.
You're tough, Rick. That's all I can say.
Rick just wish he'd have stayed over there pole vaulting and whatever he was doing.
Welcome back. Shane Sieg on the racetrack now, and that number 93 for his qualifying effort. And he locks himself in the race. That was his first lap, 33.200.
You know, Wheeler Boys was the first truck out, and the second truck he beat, but he's been on the bubble ever since. He's not been able to beat any of these trucks, so some anxious moments for Wheeler and Trevor and their crew.
He's only got three more chances to beat somebody, so getting nerve-wracking.
Shane Sieg run a little bit higher line.
You see that almost everybody that runs a second lap, they just really, really push hard up off of turn 4 there and kind of get themselves in trouble.
Shane slows down to 33.280. It's about a tenth of a second slower. Hey, what'd he lose? Whoops.
Is that a piece of lead?
No, it's too little, isn't it?
Just looks like a hot dog wrapper to me.
I think it's a little heavier than a hot dog wrapper the way it's bouncing now.
Follow the bouncing ball.
I think you're right with lead. I think that might be a piece of lead. That
looked like a transponder maybe wrapped in that
Adam Alexander.
Silver stuff.
Heat resistant stuff.
Ricky Carmichael set to make his debut this weekend at the Homestead-Miami Speedway. Pretty good first lap, and then too aggressive, I guess, on lap number 2. Take us through what happened, Ricky.
Yeah, just getting all I could get. You know, all weekend we've kind of been in the center. It just snaps loose, and that was a new setup, and I got all I could get the first lap, and really wasn't trying that hard the second lap because I felt like my first lap was pretty good. I mean, I was getting enough that I could get, but unfortunately it didn't work, and it's just a bummer. I feel so bad for the team. They've been working hard, and we'll have to pull the backup out, and you know what, at the end of the day, it'll be good seat time and a learning experience for me, and a good lesson learned, no doubt.
Tough break for Carmichael, Ray.
And Adam, down on my end, a lot of work going on that truck. But, you know, I was thinking about how Daryl and Michael have executive assistants to get them around for all the busy schedules they have. I've been working on my schedule a little bit here, just to let you know. Of course, we got the banquet on Tuesday.
Monday.
Well, I got Christmas party coming up on the 28th.
That's his schedule.
I got New Year's Eve. Got to get that done on the 3rd. And then Daytona, I got that sometime in February. So trying to get all my ducks in a row down here for you guys.
You're all over it, Ray.
And February was spelled wrong, by the way.
Thank you very little.
I think on that party that he's having for Christmas on the 28th, I'm going to buy him a calendar. What do you think? That'd be a good gift.
I think that'd be a good idea.
Brad Sweet.
Just get him a 2009. You'll be okay.
It'll be close. 26 quick. That locks Brad Sweet into tonight's race. First lap.
Have we seen anybody not get sideways?
Well,
that's
pretty
close.
Big time sideways. Looked a little bit like Brian Scott's, didn't it?
That's the coolest scoreboard in NASCAR. It's brand new. I love that thing. It's very informative, colorful, fun to look at. Fans are going to love it here at Homestead.
And we'll look at it a little bit further when we come back for more qualifying.
Dig deeper into it.
Welcome back. Ford 200 qualifying continues. That's a backup truck for Ricky Carmichael. His Monster Energy number 31 got into the wall on lap number 2. He was 13th quick on his first lap. Tried to get a little bit more, and into the wall he went. Now we see Mike Harmon coming off of the racetrack.
Michael, that's pretty impressive, Phil, that they got that truck is ready to go. I mean, they don't look like they're trying to hurry up and change parts from one to the other. That thing looked like it was ready to go on the track.
Sure did. That's a brand new team, too, remember?
Yeah.
Wheeler Boys gets pushed into the race.
He got knocked in, basically?
He got knocked in our knock-in qualifying. And now we've got MyTireMonkey.com. The 12 of Mario Goslin on the racetrack.
Debuted with this new sponsor, Daryl, at Talladega. Finishes 6th.
Just exactly what does My Tire Monkey do?
I got this. I thought yesterday you got a monkey and you rode around your trunk in case your tire went flat. You can get out and fix it. But actually, you go to My Tire Monkey and they get you tires for better prices.
Did you know? Have you ever seen the Monkey Museum? It's right, or no, it's an amusement park, I guess. It's on the way. Yeah, on the way into the racetrack over here on the turnpike.
I have not seen it.
It's just right outside the racetrack.
Should I go visit it?
Yeah, $30. Go in and see a bunch of monkeys. I'm not kidding.
I would say that you could probably see a bunch for free if you walk in this booth right now.
Mario Goslin becomes the second fastest go homer and qualifies into the 20th spot so far, 33.11. That team has really come around. I love what I'm seeing here. This is another story. Feel like we could follow next year.
Absolutely.
And watch him as he races.
And MyTireMonkey.com is going to be on board Mario's truck for next year, and he knocked himself into the field. And unfortunately for Derek White and Mike Harmon, those will be the 2 trucks that will not make this race here tonight.
So you should go to MyTireMonkey.com and you can figure out if you can buy your tires cheaper somewhere.
A little bit quicker on lap number 2 for Mario Gosselin, 33.007, 163.602. And you know, Darrell, Mario had his kids all dressed up in monkey suits, you know, Halloween, our race at Talladega. And Ray was taking candy from the kids on Halloween instead of giving it to the kids.
Oh. Colin Braun grabs his 5th career pole. He's with Adam Alexander.
And Colin, the quickest of them all in 2009. More poles than anyone. Congratulations. Now, how do you think this thing will race tonight?
Well, you know, I think the biggest thing is the speed we had yesterday in practice. I felt like we had a little better race truck than we did a qualifying truck, so really happy about it. I think my guys did a great job on this number 6 Conway Freight Ford F-150, and just a pleasure to drive. You know, to be able to get to drive this truck week in and week out is just a blast.
Good luck tonight.
Thanks, guys.
Colin Braun and Chad McCumbee will bring the field to the green flag later on this evening. You want to stay right here on Speed. Nationwide practice will be following us.
There's a lot to watch in the race tonight. The championship may have been decided, but that owner's race, I'm kind of anxious to see how that's going to turn out.
Well, we talked about last night too, Darrell. There's three things you need to win a championship. You need an owner, you need a driver, you need a truck. Only one of those 3 is decided. You got Ron Hornaday with the drivers' championship, but Kevin Harvick and Billy Ballou and Toyota and Chevy are battling for the other 2 parts of that puzzle.
John Monson doing some work on the back of that truck. Again, nationwide practice following us. Another important thing you're going to want to stay tuned for tonight's race, the battle for that 5th position in our championship points. There are 5 that are separated by just over 60 points. It's going to be a great battle. Thanks for joining us here for Camping World Truck Series qualifying. Again, nationwide practice is up next right here on Speed.